Good morning, Eric.
Morning, guys. How are
Good
you?
morning.
I don't know if you can tell where we're at, but it's gorgeous. Gorgeous day. We're at Vibe Cellars. This is Erik Cooper. I'm Russ McClellan. This is, what's your name again? I haven't seen you in a bit. No, Nicole Turner.
Biggest eye roll ever.
That was. I like that. I get that a lot myself.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We combine strengths to achieve the common goal around here.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. Well, thanks for doing this. And, you know, you've got an incredible business. And I don't know if you've watched very many of our episodes or any at all, but I always try to share a little bit of why we did it. And that's just simply to help unite a community in the valley. And to do that, I felt like, you know, so often we know of people, but we don't really know them.
Uh-huh.
And then as soon as you can get to know a little bit more about someone, we're all human. We all have pluses and minuses, good days, bad days, but most importantly, we probably have things in common. And then once you realize you have commonality, maybe there's a little less judgment, maybe there's a little more compassion, empathy, and sympathy, and maybe the keyboard warrior world will slow down.
Oh gosh,
just a bit. Anyway, you know, growing up here, I've lived about 10 different lives since I was, born. So a lot of times people know you from a certain episode or high school or, I use the example of a police officer pulled you over and so you don't like him, but you were doing 30 over in a school zone. So kind of was doing his job. He's actually a nice guy. You know?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of what.
Just know you're in trouble.
And the other reason really is for, your family, your authentic story.
Uh-huh.
And every one of us has one of those. So this medium allows us to kind of preserve that forever. So one day, I know if my mom and dad passed away in 2020 and 2021, I sure wish I would have had something like this, even an hour just to talk to them.
Exactly.
Had all those stories locked up. So anyway,
that's
why we're doing it, and I really appreciate it. I'm curious, though. I'm curious about your story, and I kind of like to go back in time. Like, where's your family or your grandparents? Where did it all start?
Oh, geez. Well, my dad grew up in Renton, Washington. My mom's from Minnesota, and then she moved to Seattle in like the mid-'70s. Met my dad, and then had us in 1980, and we lived in where were we? We were Mercer Island, renting a house there, and then we moved to the old Issaquah. It was booming, the baby boomer rush out there, and so we went out to Issaquah in like '87, and my parents divorced. I think around like '80. No, I think we were out there in '86 or so. Anyways, I think it was 89. I was 9 years old. They divorced. We moved into a little rental house in a equestrian farm up there on the plateau that was just awesome. And grew up in Issaquah for elementary, middle school on the plateau, and then Issaquah High for high school. Graduated in '99 and moved to Arizona. So then I went to school down in Arizona. I was down in Arizona for 8 years. And in 2000, my dad called my brother, and I have an identical twin brother. So when I say we, I'm usually talking about both of us.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I was like,
I know. Yeah, we. It's when you're an identical twin, that is your identity.
I think that's the first identical twin on the podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You kept saying we when you were like, we were born in 1980.
Oh,
I'm like,
gosh.
that's hard to like have 2 kids in 1 year. But no, that makes sense.
They only had the 2, and so we went down there, and my dad called. He's like, he worked for Boeing, and Boeing had a wine club. And he's like, I joined a wine club. And we're like, wine club? What are you talking about, Dad? He's like, Boeing's got tons of clubs. They got a train club. They got all these clubs. And anyways, it was a beer and wine club. So he started making wine at home for fun in like the early 2000s. So I had no idea about the Washington wine industry or wine in general. I was 20. I was drinking Coors Light. And but we'd come home during like Christmas, Thanksgiving, so different times of the year, and participate in home winemaking with him and his buddy. And that's how I kind of got into wine. And then during college, we bartended at a nightclub in Scottsdale, and came back to Washington in 2008, and that was the recession time. Had a degree, had a couple interviews, like selling software. They were offering like $25K starting. I'm like, this is crazy. You can make double that bartending. So I went back to bartending. And bartended in Bellevue for like 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so then...
that's a skill set.
Yeah, me and my twin bartended together. So if you ever went to Palomino, you probably saw us both.
I remember that place.
Yeah, that was a big one.
I bet you guys were...
What was your guys... Did your brother go to Arizona State?
Yeah, we both did. We had same degree, same everything.
What did you guys get a degree in?
Business and communications. It was Bachelor of Interdisciplinary Studies, so I didn't have to take statistics. They called it the barely in school degree, but we did go to ASU, so what do you expect?
Yeah, so that was, were you fraternity brothers?
No, we didn't do that. We basically had our own because my dad had bought a house there, and 5 of us moved down there from high school.
Oh, okay.
It's funny, one of my buddies from elementary school Mitch Hill lives out here now, so I've known him since kindergarten. And he was with us there for a couple years, but he moved back to Seattle in only after 2 years, so 2002 or so. But then he moved out here with his wife and kids during COVID, 2000. He finally convinced Jamie to move out here.
Nice.
Love it. Yeah.
And that was a gold rush for people moving in.
Oh, absolutely. And Jamie's actually performing here tomorrow, live music. So she sings with Megan Johnson.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, live music. No, Saturday. Today's Thursday.
Stephen's wife.
Yeah, Stephen's wife.
Oh, that's cool.
Or Stephen is her husband, I suppose.
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly.
Sorry, Megan.
And that's on the 4th of July, right?
It is the 4th.
That's
yeah.
going to be busy.
It is
That'll
a busy
be fun.
day. Yeah, we always get Megan and friends to play on 4th of July, Memorial Day, and sometimes Labor Day.
Oh,
I think she's back Labor Day, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
Can't remember my music schedule.
They didn't need to be in a fraternity because he was bartending.
Yeah, well, that was our fraternity.
Yeah.
And now we're still like super close with all those guys. We go hike at one, because we're now mid 40s, 46. And so now we do hiking trips together. We go to like Havasupai Falls. That was awesome. 16-mile hike in, 16 out in a tent 3 nights. Now we chose Moab last time, Arches National Park. It was kind of fun to go see these natural parks around the nation that you never thought I'd visit, and now I love going down there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so got into wine that way and wanted out of the restaurant industry, and found out about the viticulture program through Washington State University, certificate. So it's a 2-year program online. So it was bartending and in the viticulture. And being a city slicker, I had no idea what a grapevine looked like. I'm like, what's a trunk? What's a cordon? What are they talking about? Shoots, clusters. And my dad had a condo out here, and I was like, why don't I move out to Chelan and see if I can. I was like, can I live in the condo? He's like, sure. I'm gonna get a job at a winery instead of going to Woodinville to the land of tasting rooms.
Oh, yeah?
Because more of a visual learner, so it was way over my head. So moved out here, got a job at Nefarious with Dean and Heather, and worked at Nefarious for 5.5 years. And then my dad was like, yeah, you can do an alternating proprietorship. It's called AP agreement at a winery. So you're like a licensed bonded winery with inside of another winery. But you end up using their equipment to produce your wine. So my capital investment is nil.
So you kind of incubate your company.
Exactly. And
Oh,
that's how I
okay.
started Vibe. So,
That's
and then,
smart.
yeah, and Brock Lindsay, who owns Succession, was in my viticulture program.
Okay.
So that's how we became buddies. And then, when was it? 18, I started making wine at Nefarious. Nefarious for Vibe 18, 19, 20 vintage. And then I couldn't really grow at Nefarious, being a smaller production facility. And Brock had built the big production facility there, and that's closer to home. And I was like, well, maybe I'll go work for Brock and see if he'll let me make my wines there. He said yes, so that's how I got there.
I was sad when he passed away.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Rolled up side by side.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, one of my best buds, so. But, life's a journey.
Take
Well,
it every
How
day.
long
is
ago was
one
that?
time.
3 years ago, almost.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that's where I make my wines now at Succession. So what I do, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 vintage there. Soon to be 26. It's right around the corner. Let's not talk about harvest. It's already July. Oh, God, dear Lord. It's coming fast.
Yeah, you just need to get through day by day.
Every day. I only live day by day. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, what do I have to do today? I got to mow the lawn. I got to weed
So
whack.
your brother followed you back. You guys were all together bartending back
Yep.
in Seattle, and then did he come?
No, my twin had we bought a house together, and it was a split level. So I lived downstairs, then him and his wife and his daughter were upstairs. And that's why I was like, well, this is kind of crowded. I can move to Chelan. And I split time. So I was here like 7 months a year, and then I'd go back for the winters because Nefarious closed for the winter. And then I'd just bartender in the winter and do their wholesale sales. So that was great to learn that whole side of the industry, wholesale. It's a lot of work. Down the pavement, see if somebody will carry your wine. Get a lot of no's, but that's life. So that was great. And then when I went to Succession full-time, I moved out here for full-time in 21. So about 5 years full-time and 10 years total. I think next week's going to be 10 years that I'll be here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I waited till after 4th of July. I was like, I'm not starting at Nefarious on the 4th. Like, I don't even know what a tasting room work entails.
Yeah, I know.
So I was
I don't know
like,
if you know this. I opened a restaurant in Chelan once.
Yeah, you told me that.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
it was the soft opening idea. It was like Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
I got learned.
What was the name of that one? I went there.
Bonfire Grill.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes there's this saying, do what you're good at and hire the best to do the rest. Well, we were doing pretty good in real estate, so I was like, I worked at a restaurant, when I was a kid. I'm like, how hard can it be? And
It's a lot of work.
and now I've learned, and I was kind of an absentee, but turned into not being an absentee because everything. Literally, it was like Gordon Ramsay should have showed up. I would have welcomed it. He would have told me I was an idiot.
Oh, yeah.
You know, all the things that I was doing wrong. And I learned a lot, though, and I learned that the margins are small, and there's so many ways that you can die through, death through 1,000 cuts.
Exactly.
You know, a little bit here, a little bit there, and that compound effect is a big deal.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to go into the restaurant industry after working it so long. Was like, people like, you don't want to own a bar? Like, not at all. Like, I just like bartending. I never went to management because managers get fired quicker than bartenders. So, yeah, so it is one of those things. I was like, well, the industry for wine's a better margin, plus it's fun.
Yeah.
It's also a lot of work at certain times of the year, but I love it. So,
What was your, if you've been here 5 years in this location.
this location, yeah.
If you look back at your last decade, coming up on 10 years, can you remember some of the expectations that you thought were true that turned out to be very different than you thought? Like some of the biggest challenges or changes?
I think you just think that you just make wine and you sell it, and you have a taste room, and there's, you got people that work for you, but then when you own your own business, you end up doing it all. I couldn't do it without my dad. He does the back end of the books and a lot for us, and helped me learn how to make wine. So that's kind of it, is how much work it entails, like day to day. Like, wake up and you're like, oh gosh, I got 30 things to do before we open.
Yeah.
And then you get like half of them done, or you move it to tomorrow's problem. I like to do that on my calendar. Let's make that tomorrow's issue.
Carry over.
Yeah, always. I'm always moving things around.
Yeah.
What were some of the surprises? I'm curious about this industry as it's grown. I was here when we didn't have any.
Yeah.
And I was in real estate, and we sold like Bob Jenkelson his land, and we sold some land to a lot of different people over the years. But I've seen it, I don't know how many there are now, 40 something?
I think it's like 30 something now.
30 something now?
Yeah.
So.
But just a few years ago, it was like
Oh,
46.
it was. I think we got it, I think, as high as like 40 something. But then it's a tough industry. There's quite a bit of competition too at that time. That was almost all the market could bear. So some of those have dropped by the wayside.
Yeah.
Which is normal. But I think the thing that I'd say harvest is one of those things that each year is different. So every year is a different year. So that's what's kind of fun about wine. Number one, you can't learn everything there is to know about wine. Somebody who acts like they know it all doesn't know. They're just pretentious and rude. But the thing is,
Sounds like real estate.
We're not. Yeah, I hate that about wine.
Perpetual learning.
Yeah.
You better be a learning.
That's why we like it's laid back, and here at Vibe, I never wanted a pretentious thing. And part of the name also, I do a red blend called Gemelli that means twin in Italian. We were like, we'll call it Gemelli Cellars. And then I started working at Nefarious, and then it's like Chelan Cellars, but everybody calls it Sicilian.
Yeah.
And then Cardeus. And I was like, I don't think I want a name that's hard to pronounce, because people are like, can I get the Gemelli? I'm like, dang, it's Gemelli. But that was, I was like, well, started just adding to the notes list over the years, and was like, what about Vibe Cellars? Like, has laid back, hanging out with your friends, music, wine's not pretentious. People make it that way. Like, as a bartender, what's the difference between a vodka soda and a glass of red? Like, nothing, except somebody, you don't know how to pronounce the wine. So that's what turns people off of wine. We want everybody to drink wine.
I've said that.
Yeah.
There's like, why do you name something that I can't pronounce?
Well, a lot of them are French too, but then some of the names too, you'll call a blend some that's, you can't pronounce it. Some of Chelan Cellars, El Bocahuelo or something, the rosé. I'm like, I don't know, just give me the rosé.
Yeah.
But yeah, Viognier was one of those. I remember at Nefarious, we grew an amazing Viognier there. And this one guy was like, I'll take a bottle of Viognier. And I was like, yes, you will. And he owned it. So it looks like Viognier if you read it phonetically,
right.
But it's Viognier because it's French.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be that person who would pronounce it that way.
Yeah, and that's what, wines, they're European names, either French, Italian, could be Greek, there's wine all over Europe. So those are European grapevines we make wine from. We don't use American grapevines to make wine. You can. Some of the Midwest, I've not tried many of them. I hear they're not very good.
Yeah, there's a quote about what you just said about not being a perpetual learner, you know, where I know I've been in it 20 years, 30 years. I mean, I've been in real estate 37 years here, and every day I'm learning. I'm learning from Nicole. I'm learning from everyone all the time. And there's this quote.
And every transaction is
different.
different.
Yeah.
And there's this quote that I love. I can't remember. I should have remembered who actually wrote it, but it said, the difference between learners and knowers is that knowers are usually perfectly prepared for a world that no longer exists. You know, you might know it that day, and then to your point, the next day
it changes.
You better be a learner again.
Yeah,
and humble.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. Each harvest has been completely different. You get early freeze. I forget when that was. That was like 22. That was terrifying, and just a frost came, and then so that'll kill the leaves, so then you get no more photosynthesis, and then they'll die off, and then they'll drop the fruit within a week.
Oh, wow.
So then it's like if everything it's not ripe, but you got to take it maybe, or you're rushing to bring in every varietal, but you don't have enough fermenters, you don't have enough bins, you don't have enough time to go get those things, but that you're worked out. So
now let me ask you a question, because and this is coming from a layman's perspective, so it might be an obvious answer that I'm not aware of.
Oh,
but
no dumb
from the outside looking in, you're talking about some of the major challenges. And I grew up on an apple orchard, so a small one. I know farming is farming, and there's many, many variables from Mother Nature to markets to everything, right?
Yep.
Smoke, you name it. So, and it's kind of a two-part question. So, what power does it bring to be the estate winery versus let somebody else do that, buy the grapes, and then make the wine? And that's the second part is, and this might be completely insulting. I'm not trying to be. If I lined up 100 tourists and I said, blind taste test these, I feel like there's going to be the horrible ones, and I feel like there's going to be, that's pretty good. You know? Yeah. But I think a lot of the stuff in the middle, they wouldn't be able to tell me, is it a $20 bottle of wine, a $40 bottle? You know. So you combine those two, and I'm just curious, what are the advantages of an estate winery, and as it relates to profitability? Maybe not the artistic side, but the profitability side.
Well, estate vineyards means you own the land, you farm it, and you produce wine from it, which is it's awesome. Number one, if you can afford land out in Chelan to then plant grapevines that take 3 years to get fruit, so it's a waiting game. Plus, then you've got a high price land, and then you've got to amortize that depreciation over years against your wine. So
farm it.
It's kind of but estate. Number one, it's cool because you can put it on your label. It's estate wine. I own that land. I farm that land. I make the wine from it. And you can just look out the window and see it. And that's the best part about having vineyards here is the South Shore's got a lot of that. Succession's got one.
So atmosphere.
Rome. Yeah, it looks beautiful. You're sitting in a vineyard while you're tasting wine, and what you're drinking came from those grapes. So I wish I could. I've got ornamental plants here.
I think that's my point. Like you essentially add a whole bunch of complexity for a theoretical margin increase, which is probably there. But if you had to quantify it, do you really feel like the margins are that much better? Or
no, I don't personally. Plus, it's hard. Like on top of doing what I do now, and I buy fruit from other vineyards. I let farmers grow, and I buy their fruit. So good farmers grow amazing fruit. You can make good wine from it. But
do what you're good at.
Yeah, and then like Nefarious, for example, we had, Dean and Heather had, 7.5 acres total. So that was kind of like Dean's focus was the farming, and Heather's focus was the business. But Heather made the whites, he made the reds. And of course we had a vineyard team that was amazing that did the day-to-day stuff, the sprays, but there's all the things that go with a vineyard, which is like a separate business in itself. You've got to time your sprays depending on if it rained. You got to get some sulfur out there, and your early spring sprays, you got weed sprays, you got problems with your tractor, then you can't get out and do it, or it's windy that day. So like Eben was gonna spray at Succession the other day, and I saw him as windy 2 days ago. And he's like, well, I was gonna spray, but I can't now because if it's windy, you won't get good contact of that spray.
So you're just wasting it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he had to push that probably till yesterday. But that's one of those things. It's a lot more work. It's a whole nother gambit if you've got to farm your land plus make wine from it and run a business.
Yeah, and I get there's a lot of people that are passionate and they love it. And, I feel like in the beginning anyway, that's what a lot of it was. The original cast of characters just loved the idea. Whether they were, it might have been from the egg industry took a major hit in the apple industry, so they transitioned like Steve and Clute and a few other Bob Christopher. I remember Bob Christopher. I think he's passed away now, and then Bob Jenkelson, had a vision and made some money. And I think there was a lot of that, right? It was a sexy thing to do. I made some money somewhere else. Yeah. And I've been trying to kind of add up how many second generations there are, and there's a few, but there's not a lot.
No.
Most of the people were the pioneers.
Yeah, exactly. And then after like 20 some odd years, you get kind of burned out at doing it. And if you have the opportunity to sell and retire, everybody wants to retire. Yeah. And if you have a vineyard and a winery, there's really no end until you decide you're done.
Yeah.
So, especially if you have the vineyard. My dad said if I'm farming apples, he used to make a joke that if he won the lottery, he'd just farm apples till it was all gone. Yeah. If you farm long enough. Yeah. Especially in this state, it gets tough. Sure. It gets real tough. Yeah. And it's interesting because you do have an ambiance with vineyards that's definitely appealing. You drive through rural Manson, some of the most beautiful places around, and it's or the South Shore, like you mentioned. But then you sacrifice this location. I mean, some try to do both. Yeah. If you have enough capital. Exactly. And you're looking at it long term. Yeah. Or you're passionate. So it's kind of interesting when you are, if you look at it from a newcomer's perspective. There's a little bit for everyone. But it is a lot of wineries, and I'm curious how you feel about the future because of that.
Well, that's kind of the thing. Competition, you'll either rise or you'll fall. It's also the industry's down in general for the last couple of years in wine. Ready to drink cocktails, RTDs they call them, like a Moscow Mule in a can. Those have taken over. Seltzers did a huge hit on wine, and that's been 5 years or so now. That was the one that Wine Bit happens in February, and there's always state of the industry, and it was seltzer war because everybody was pissed about seltzer because it's the fastest growing drink, and now the RTD drinks are, and then that's why wine went into cans. It was like, well, part of the wine it's in a 750 milliliter bottle with a cork, so if you don't have a corkscrew, you can't get that cork out of there.
And it's not as easy just to be portable. And put it in a cooler. For sure. All that stuff.
Yeah. And wine, because it's higher acid, it was the lining inside of the can. The acid was eating the liner, so it took them a while to dial in canned wines. But my brother works for Columbia Distribution. He knows all this stuff, and he's like, oh yeah, like canned wine, that's dead now. There's only two. Because of competition, 2 rose to the top. The rest fell out. So
competition breeds excellence, or you don't.
Yeah, house wine or something, and there's one more, he says, that were really the winners of it, but canned wine's not really that fun.
What about mocktails? Because I know that there's a big trend with a lot of the younger crowd that all want to do alcohol-free. Yeah. But they still want to come and have an atmosphere and still feel like it's the same. For sure. But not. Yeah, the
healthy kick in the younger generation doing that's scary for wine as well. Not always going to last long term, but at the same point, we sell a lot of NA drinks here. These canned margarita, Paloma, there's a Moscow Mule, watermelon mojito. But I've been selling a ton of NAs lately, and NA beer too. So I mean, it's another thing to sell. But it's a little scary that way. But there's NA wines now too. I haven't tried one. I do have a couple in the back. We're looking at making like a mocktail. Because you can sell it. You go to a restaurant on the west side now, and a mocktail is like $18.
I know. Yeah. It's just as much as an actual cocktail.
For sure. And that's why my brother keeps it like, you got to do a NA drink. And so he brought some stuff over, and I'm like, then he's like, the other day somebody asked for one, and he's like, where's that stuff? I'm like, I haven't got it in the fridge, Michael. Chill out. You got a lot going on, man. Yeah. Why don't you go make one? You come up with the recipe, I'll make it.
Well, it sounds like you guys have been tight your whole life.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He does a lot of our wholesale on the west side, so he does. I used to do a lot of that, but now I'm too busy to get back. So I'll get back like twice a summer, just next weekend. 2 weeks from now, we got Kirkland Uncorked. So I got to go back Friday. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event, but I got to come back Saturday for a wedding, and then I got to go back Sunday. So it's gonna be a long weekend, but it's worth it. But he does our wholesale like wine walks and not grocery stores, bottle shops and that sort of thing, like tasting events at bottle shops. But Michael's busy with that, plus 2 kids and a full-time career, so he's going too.
Yeah, how important, you always hear about gold medal wines, and how important is the accolades in the actual business?
Well, it's more of an advertising thing. Plus, it does cost you wine and money to enter those events. You end up finding out which events are worth entering. So I only do like 3 a year. Just got some scores back that were great, which we were happy about. But then there's Sean Sullivan, who I believe used to write for like Wine Enthusiast magazine, but now he does his own. And he doesn't cost anything. You just donate the wine and then he rates them. So I got to get wine to him. He's in downtown Seattle.
Now, I know we were talking about the estate vineyards. If you have an estate vineyard, can you like enter into certain, like, does that help you in your rankings or
no,
like certain competitions?
No, competitions are blind for the most part. So they bag the wines. They just will do, like it's Sangio, they'll set it up before. So it's all Sangios that they're going to taste then. If it was estate, that would be, they'll just say the estate wine won. But no, it doesn't. Not unless it was like an estate only competition, which I'm sure there is. But I don't have an estate, so I've never entered.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah, so that's the best I can answer that. But they do help. We put it on the website, like 94-point gold medal, double gold or something. And some people look at those things. I do if they do have, it just depends on which event. Some of the other ones too, like if you pay to advertise in a magazine and you buy their front page ad and back page ad, it's pretty good bet you're going to win some of their awards. And,
makes sense.
Yeah. So some of it's pay to play.
Nice.
It's like politics.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, some of those, you just got to take it with a grain of salt. And when you're in this industry, then you know if it was a quality competition or if it was just a so one.
Could you describe, you're a winemaker, you went to school, you've been doing it a while now. Can you describe when someone says, oh, that's a great winemaker? What does that mean?
Consistency. So year to year, you want to have a consistent product. That's the thing with wine. Sometimes you'll go to a winery, you love this blend that year, and the next year you're like, man, what happened with that?
That can change though with like the harvest and the temperature and all the.
That could always be a factor for sure. But then also, also if they keep one winemaker for a long period of time, you get to see that person's work over a period. If they're changing winemakers every 2 or 3 years, sometimes you don't, like, say you did that, but your reds take 18 months in barrel before you even bottle them. So those weren't even the new winemaker's wines. That was a previous winemaker's wine. So then you're like, oh, I like that, but that was not that guy's wine. That was the previous guy. But then a year later, you get to try his wine, and you're like, oh, well, I don't really like that. So
and that whole process can, if you don't do that right, you don't store it right, turn the barrels, all the things you have to do. Yeah, it's fairly intricate, isn't it?
It is, yeah, and it's labor intensive. But it's timings and also cleanliness and what's your SO2 program and are you on top of those things? That can be, there's no recipe to it, but if you have good practices and you do that year to year, you should be producing quality wine every single year consistently. But consistency will kill a winery because it's like, oh man, I love that Viognier. Next year, you're like, what happened there? So, and you'll see that over time, especially people that go to wineries. If they remember and you get their wine every allocation and you're like, man, what happened with this allocation? I don't like any of them, but the last year I did. So that's always fun when somebody comes in to taste and they get 5 wines and maybe a 6th is a bonus. And I liked all those wines. And when you hear that, that's the best compliment you can get.
Yeah, cool.
So I asked a little bit about this, but where do you see it in 5 to 10 years?
I think we're going to see a lot of attrition and dropping off. It's a tough industry and it's a tough market, and there's oversaturation in a way. So, and I think people were overextended years ago over the last, like COVID 2020, 21, 22, and there was a lot of growth thinking that was going to be the normal thing, and so they overproduced. And when you have inventory and backstock, and you can't get to that new vintage, but you've got 3 vintages to get to, that's going to eat you alive because you've got a bunch of sunk cost in that, and you're not getting any money.
You almost have to dump it.
You just have to figure a way to sell it. And then the bulk market, the wholesale market's flooded since the downturn in the industry. Everybody was trying to get into distribution, so you got to take a huge margin cut if you want to do that. So.
And that just helps you offload.
Absolutely, because you've got to get that inventory out. You got to get some cash coming back because you paid for the fruit, you paid to make the wine, then it's sitting in a $1,200 oak barrel. And
what's it like to bottle it? Because
bottling?
Yeah, I heard that's
it's fun and it's also exhausting, and you're always like, damn it, bottling time. So we bring a mobile bottling truck up from Benton City. Bill Hamlin's been doing it for decades. Built cross-flow filtration. He used to work with Ocean Spray, and then he was with Chateau Ste. Michelle, and then he built it's a fifth wheel trailer with a bottling line in it. So in order to get ready for bottling, we have a bunch of work to do in the cellar to get your wines out of barrel, red wines, and then put your blends together, put your solos together, and then we filter them the day before through a cross-flow filtration system, and the next day we bottle, and it's like 13-hour days. So it's about 100 cases per hour with Bill's truck, and there's another company, Signature, that's a semi-truck size, double the speed, so it's 200 cases per hour. And it's just a lot of work.
Yeah, and many people use, that's kind of the common method.
Yes, there's a couple of bottling lines in the valley, but in order to, they're expensive to own, they're expensive to maintain, and you really have to a dedicated technician who knows that system. So I know Lake Chelan Winery has a bottling line, and then some have a 6-bottle filler, so you can bottle them by hand, which I've done multiple times.
That seems like that would take longer.
It does.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You're 13-hour days now, 15-hour days.
That's if you're bottling, like, I do like one run, so like 120 cases, and that's 12 bottles per case. But yeah, but you get rewarded with some wine after. That's the whole joy.
I have all these, I appreciate you being always transparent with, and you're always one of those good guys and help everybody, and you know, and I don't know if people know where Vibe Cellars at. You know, Nicole reminded me that I don't have to describe anymore. Go to the Blue Tower, take a left, go down to John's house. She said there's this thing called Google Maps.
Yes.
So you can go to Vibe Cellars. I don't know if that was a slam on my age or what it is, but she keeps me on my toes.
Yeah, you're a duck. You got to let it roll off your back. I hear it all the time now. I'm the oldest person who works here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a daily insult.
So you're right at the end of Manson's main drag as you come in by the lake. I mean, it's a gorgeous setting. You got outdoor patios, you got the heaters, you got the umbrellas, you got an indoor area to hang out as well.
Well, don't you guys do like yoga and wine here?
Yeah, yoga and court. Christina and Amy started that, I think, at 21. So I'll set up one a month. So then we'll do yoga out on the patio, which I have to clear the patio to set up. But we just did it 2 weeks ago. I think in 2 more weeks I've got another. But it's awesome. And so you come, it's 45 minutes of yoga. And then you can buy wine after.
Yeah.
It used to include.
You ever do the yoga with Christine?
Oh, every time, yeah. There's only one time I missed it.
Good job.
I was hurting. And there was another time too. It was, gosh, when was it? September, October? It must have been September. But it was raining, and it was raining in Manson, but not in Chelan. And Amy's like, and we had 20 people sign up, which is way more than normal. And so I set up the whole patio, and I got the umbrellas out, and the last one I clicked, it started downpouring. I'm like, no way. So then we had to move it inside. So then I had to move everything inside, outside. And then she's like, are you going to do yoga? And we have 20. I'm like, I don't know how you're going to fit 20 people inside here on mats. And I was like, no, I'll reset the patio. So I grabbed an IPA and just drank an IPA out here in the morning.
Nice.
While I was getting drenched. So that was a fun one.
Yeah. Memorable. See,
it was.
That's the thing. At the time, it's always challenging. Then those are the ones you remember.
Yeah, and if you come here in the summer for patio yoga, I recommend the shade because it's 45 minutes baking on the cement.
It's like a hot yoga class.
Yeah, and if Christina's coaching, you're going to be sweating and moving.
Yeah, she kicked my butt before.
Yeah.
And my wife kicks my butt a lot.
Yes, your wife is very good at yoga. I've done the barn a couple of times. And that hot yoga, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
But it was fun. But
I started doing yoga, I started with Linda Kennedy when she was alive, and she had Lake Chelan yoga in town. And it's kind of a funny story. I went there the first time, and I was a 3-sport athlete, played college basketball, and rodeo, and did all motorcycles, did all that stuff. So you walk in there, you think you're an athlete, and then she starts going, and I literally didn't know anything.
I know you're watching like a what?
Yeah,
what
this
position?
is
pose.
Yeah, and it was like I raised my hand, like I was a student in a class. Excuse me, teacher.
Yeah.
I don't think my body does that. She goes, are you human? I go, yeah. She goes, well, you'll get there. We have modifications. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
then,
I know.
And then I got addicted. I did like 100 days in a row, twice,
right on.
2 different times. And then, a lot of Audie's the reason I got going. She was like, she knows how to she knows how to get me to do what she wants.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, never mind, you won't do it. And I was like, what? And I was going to ask you to go to yoga with me, but I know you won't do it. So I had to. Yeah, I will.
Go now, yeah.
And then, so she's the reason I started, and it's amazing.
It is.
And these athletes that think it's like easy.
No. It's the stretching too.
I don't know if I've ever heard anybody say it was easy.
No.
Well, I'm just saying the perception.
Yeah, perception. Like, oh, it's just stretching, and then you get like, hold on.
I'm an athlete.
What?
I'm a football player. I can. Then they get in there and they're just dying.
Oh,
especially in hot yoga.
Flexibility and everything. Oh, hot yoga. Good Lord.
Yeah, I love
Feels
that.
good after, but when you're in the middle of it, I'm like, I think I might pass out.
Yeah.
And then you're drenched within seconds.
I love that. That's the only way I'll do it now. Once you get hooked on it, it's
Mm-hmm.
fun. That's a great combo. I mean, it's funny that you guys have this ability to be creative, and I'm always trying to figure out, like, you know, like you said, competition is competition. You got to keep raising the bar, keep things interesting. I'm really curious where you think Manson is 10 years from now.
Oh, geez, it's changed a lot in the 5 years I've been here. There was, I think the second year it was like multiple businesses had closed. I'm like, geez, it's like a dead end road here. And the park across the street, that group did an amazing job with that.
That's amazing. It is.
Yeah, and the building finally, because I would get questions every single day about that. Like, is that going to be sold? It's going to be turned into this? Like, who owns that? I'm like, listen, I don't know, or what I'd heard. So anyways, the group did that, and that's helped a lot too, I think, because it doesn't look like the dead end of the town with that dilapidated building. And the park's just awesome, and Maria's has delicious food.
Yeah, she's great. Right,
twice a week.
Little taco stand across the street.
Yeah.
But then, like, gosh, Bigfoot Burgers just opened up, tapped out, redone. Next door is going to be Nona's Sandwiches that moved from Chelan to the Broken Compass. That was unfortunate. I think she lost her husband.
That was unfortunate.
Yeah, so then, but that's cool. And then Acre and Bay on the corner, Von Hart Bakery's killing it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Too.
And then the newer buildings up there with La Garza and, with Moon Penny and the coffee urban grounds.
Yeah, and the pizza at Sunset.
Radiance, wing night and coffee there, I love. So yeah, it's great to see it change. I don't know, 10 years from now, that's a good question, but I hope to be here still in 10 years in this location because it's just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if I grew up here and, you know, I used to get my tire, you know, as a kid. Yeah, I lived just past Blueberry Hills. Now I live past Blueberry Hills again. But
I was just saying, now you're back.
I'd ride my bicycle down and Ernie would let me air up, or when I was like 16, I'd pull the boat in and get some gas and try to charge it to my dad. And, you know, so I get on the boat. And, you know, it's funny to think now, you know, being in real estate almost 40 years, how that happened. First of all, it's kind of bizarre. But to think that this might be like the quasi Bel Air of the valley. I mean, who would have guessed?
While we're talking too, like the Parks Department's supposed to redo the dog park area, and I think around Manson Bay a little bit with, I saw a picture, but I can't remember exactly. Almost like a gangway.
Like the old swimming hole, is that that's where, it used to be a swimming hole there when I was a kid.
There's all these plans, and I think the funding, they have the funding to do it. I don't know when it's going to happen, and then that'd be great if the Lady of the Lake would come back to pick people up here.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, there was talk with the Manson Chamber. They were talking, trying to get a ferry system out here to get a little more business out here, or people. Plus, if you can catch the ferry to Stehekin, and I could just park here and go up to Stehekin for the day.
Yeah.
Like twice a year, so love it up there.
I think that's an area on the lake that is potentially, you know, not only the tourism is, you know, it's packed in that 60, 90 days, but there is more and more people moving here, especially since COVID, and we have that forced adoption of techs, and now people know what Zoom is, and in almost every industry. So you know, we're selling a lot more primary resident buyers than we used to. You know, it used to be just retirees and second home investors, and then the essential workers here locally. Yeah. Now we have this, I call it a new species. Now we have this person that can, you know, sell their home, and they're capitalized now because they have a bunch of equity and they work from home. So I mean, for 30 years I've heard if I could make a living in Chelan, I'd move there.
Yeah, exactly.
And now with Starlink and other technologies, I think it's changing. I'm curious how you feel about the county, because one of the things that's surprising to me, if I was in the hospitality business, I would be pretty vocal about the reduction in SDRs to the level that they did, and how they, and how not only just how that they knocked it down, or you know, I'm also not for unbridled growth. I don't mind certain rules for sure. You know, you can't just let everything happen for sure. But boy, a lot of those wineries had a trajectory of heads and beds in the summer with Airbnbs, and then it got shut down. But what's surprising me is I don't see a lot of pushback from the industry, the hospitality industry as a whole.
That short-term rental because they capped it, right? There's like a pool now.
It's huge. It's a giant reduction. And then they made it so complicated at the county to get one. Literally, if you want to buy an STR now, at least as of September of this year, for the last 5 years, you were grandfathered. If you had a permit, you could sell it once with the permit.
Okay.
Now, after September, you can't. Even if you have a permit, you can't sell with the permit. And you can only apply in June and July once a year. And you can't rent it that year. So you lose the DSCR loans, which is being able to use the income.
Oh, no.
So if I wanted to buy an STR in Chelan County, I have to buy the house first. Then I have to hope that I'm in line and there's not one within 200 feet, and I have to wait till June and July, and then I have to wait till the next year. So the process became very limiting.
Yeah.
And so if I was in a business like yours, I would be concerned because at maybe 20 wineries we were fine, at 30 wineries we were fine, at 40 wineries we were fine, but the amount of people that can stay here where the vast majority of the money's made in July, August, September is going to be capped.
Yeah.
And then what's going to happen, in my opinion, is you're just going to have the houses will be the same price. You'll just have people that have enough money that now you just have a home they come to 3 times a year, and we don't use that asset to generate money supply and tax revenue.
Yeah.
So I was curious how your take
question.
on it.
Well, and then do the Airbnbs pay that LTAC? Money goes into the LTAC?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, there's tax revenue on the turnover.
Because LTAC was always a huge thing at Manson Chamber and the Chelan Chamber, I know, because that's where we get a lot of the funding. But I think that's a good question. I know I had heard that about STR, like 4 years ago or something?
This is the 5th year.
Okay.
So they had a 5-year grandfather clause. If you had the permit, you could sell.
Yeah, I know. You hear both sides. Like people would complain that the houses in Manson were getting bought up, and then everything was a short-term rental. That was 21 or 22. I heard that. And they capped it.
Again, during COVID when we had that rush.
I know. Gosh.
Kind of like you said about wineries, seeing those numbers and then overreacting and 100%. Kind of knee-jerking instead of letting it ride the wave a little bit.
Yeah, it was an aberrational year. Don't base your growth on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's what, unfortunately, some did. We weren't in a position to do so, and which I'm thankful for. But, I do think that's a valid point. Like, the wineries should be more interested in more short-term rentals because that would put more heads in beds and more people year-round.
And create more jobs.
Absolutely. I mean, more people could live. Well,
I totally, it's a debate, right? It's like any topic that's controversial. If I get it. If you have time and money, I used to say my dad graduated high school in 1952 from here, and he probably wanted it to stay in 1952 his whole life. You know, he died in 2020. But the reality is either you're growing or you're dying.
Yeah.
And that's true, and that's trickle-down economics. It's money supply. It's Econ 101, supply and demand. It's all the basic stuff. So to me, it's like, if you have time and money, you're cool. You don't need an economy. You're just mad if the winery's closed.
Yeah.
But if you, as a business owner, need to hire somebody and they have no place to live.
Yeah.
And I get it, because you're right. If I can make a bunch of money on an STR, then the depreciation is going to be higher to a degree, and that's theoretically going to take a home away from someone else. But the reality is it doesn't, because the essential worker price points, $4,600, $4,000 to $550, and these homes are not going to move from 8 to 5 because we're not renting them. We're just selling them to richer people.
Exactly.
So to me, it's like, now what happens is you don't have the income. You don't do as well. Radiance doesn't do as well. All these businesses are now sucking air in some respect because, like you said, the trough's too small.
Yeah.
And we've reached a saturation point. Okay, well, what you're really saying then by doing the STR reduction as aggressively as they did, I'm not saying it wasn't needed. I'm just saying that my own personal opinion is it was way too aggressive, way too radical in the change. They did a 180, like is always seems to be the case in politics. Can't seem to find a compromise, right?
Exactly.
And now we're going to force people to leave, and then you're going to have a harder time finding somebody. School's going to have a harder time finding somebody. So to me, it was just, I was surprised that the industry as a whole, but I also know this. I mean, I was a victim of 2008, and not just because the markets collapsed, but also because I had my head down and in and not up and out. If I would have been a little bit less busy day to day doing a deal a day or whatever we were doing back then, maybe we could have saw a tidal wave, maybe not. But I do feel like it's hard for small businesses because you are grinding, and you're not like going to city council meetings.
No.
You're not. You're exhausted.
For sure. And I was part of the Manson Chamber for 3 years, and that was a volunteer position, and that it took away a lot of my time. to do what I want to do here, but it was great to get to know some of those things and the people I met and all that, and be part of the community and growing the commerce here. But that is the problem. Part of it is that the short-term rentals are great for us, for people, heads and beds and buying wine, but then what we need is more affordable housing for the workers, the people that work in the
100%.
industry.
Yeah, 100%. And we talk about it a lot, and I'm passionate about it. I mean, I just did a podcast that I was the guest last week, and Carl Ward was the host.
Okay.
So I did one, about my story, and that's a very complicated problem. And it's the amount of supply constraints, the bureaucracy, the amount of crazy rules that are just so overreaching, that just adds cost.
Yeah.
And so when you're into a development, I'm into a lot, 150, 200 grand for a shovel-ready lot. And then now we're at $400 a square foot.
Yeah.
That's a 2,000 square foot Rambler's 800 grand to build, and 200 for the lot by the time a developer gets it ready.
Yeah.
You're at $1.5 million.
Wow.
And so it's like, it's hard to do. I mean, it's really difficult.
Then there's no apartment complexes out here. Was there talk of, I thought there was talk of one maybe by Walmart years ago.
Yeah, there is. They own the land. And,
okay.
And again, it's a solution to a certain group of people, just like a lot of really good groups. Chelan Housing Trust is a solution for certain people. Habitat does good work. Section 8 housing for people at a certain level. Where people get crushed are the teachers and the cops and the nurses. They make too much, and then yet they don't make enough to compete in the open capitalistic markets. Yeah. And it all comes down to, right, just like wine, it all comes down to supply and demand. If you have a very limited supply of houses, and you have a demand increasing at an increasing rate, until we collectively decide we need more houses, prices don't go down, they go up. Yeah. And we have a very limited resource, and we live in a beautiful area. So I think it's a challenge from a lot of perspectives. On the investor side, I mean, I have projects in a lot of different places right now going on the horizontal side, some on the vertical, but the bureaucracy, that's the part that people just, unless you're into it, why would you want to, first of all, why would you even care? Why would you want to know? But just the amount of silliness that the government, usually out of Olympia, not usually locally, are, everything from, you need a schedule and a deer poop picker-upper in your orchard. I mean, it's like, what?
I know. Where do they come up with these rules?
Yeah. So all that stuff is like kind of like this restaurant business. It's just, it stacks. Yeah. And then investors look at a predictability problem because they often will change the rules on you in the middle of it. So you buy the land, you start.
So I've heard lately.
Yeah, and then you're like, build a sidewalk to Seattle and you'll be fine. It's like, what? Yeah. I'm done. Yeah. You just bankrupted me.
Yeah, exactly.
And therefore, the investor pool that has the desire to do it typically leave to Idaho or somewhere else. So I don't know, until we figure that problem out. I was just curious from the hospitality, the restaurant, the wine industry, if that is one of those things that you haven't felt yet, or maybe it's okay. I mean, to play devil's advocate, maybe it's okay that we have less jobs. Maybe it's okay we have less wineries, and maybe that's okay. I mean, I also could see that point back to my dad, 1952. It was great. Yeah. I want to say exactly the way it is.
It's hard to predict what will happen out here in 10 years, but also watching it for 10 years out here, and the housing market just exploded. So, and we live in Lake Tahoe of Washington, so it's highly sought after. The baby boomers are retiring, taking that money from the west side, all that equity, and moving out here, which is wonderful. And they're retiring, they like wine. So,
and you have the primary resident buyer that's younger that makes $250,000 at home.
Well, exactly. And that's going to stay here year round and contribute to the economics of the town. Yeah. For sure. And not just for the 2 months.
I know,
where
which
you're
is
trying
great.
to just
gather
as much as you can so you can suck air for the rest of the
year.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
And a lot of our wine club is a lot of retired people that have moved out here in the last 5 years. So
a lot of our clients.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They're always
which is the rub for the locals who don't want to see the change. But then it's kind of a catch-22 for me because that is how I make a living. So
I thought maybe that's one of the reasons the hospitality industry, especially wine clubs, where I don't want to make any waves politically.
That could be part of it too. And getting in, I don't want to get into politics at all. And I would. Doing the chamber alone was enough politics for me. So
it's a good way to make 50% of the people upset.
Yeah, absolutely. And
there goes half my business.
I know, it's like talking religion and politics at a bar. You just don't.
No, you don't.
And I'm here to talk wine, and that's always, sometimes you'll get those questions, but I don't need to go into that with anyone. But I agree, it is tough. the STR rentals, if they would open the pool, I don't see that happening unless
or
people
build more hotels.
Yeah, true. I know. That one opened a couple years ago, but yeah, it's the permitting, right, and the zoning.
Zoning, permitting, you got to, and then
what do they call it?
The cost. I mean, all of it.
Yeah, geez, the cost alone.
And the location. I mean, it all matters, right?
If you're going to be a developer these days, you really got to want it. It's like being a winery owner. You really got to want it, right? If I was going to open a multi-million-dollar winery right now in Chelan, I really got to be passionate.
Yeah, I would tell you not to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I tell developers.
Yeah.
You really got to want to do it because you're probably not going to make any money by it.
No,
it takes a year, 5 years, or 10 years.
Yeah, we shall see. Time will tell, but all I can do is work every day.
Well, you got such a great spot, too. You know?
We love that.
And your personality is absolutely, I mean, you're just a genuinely sincere individual. I mean, if you come to Chelan, I'm telling you guys, this is a spot you have to see. And the view, if you sit right there, literally right there, the lake's
it is
right
perfect.
there. You can walk down to the marina. You can walk over to Buddy's Tavern. You can walk over to, walk up and down this little valley. And you know, growing up here, it's still, I feel so lucky to still be able to stay here.
Oh, absolutely. I'm thankful to be here and always be respectful of the local people and know you're an out-of-towner and you're always going to be an out-of-towner. But you just get in where you fit in, right? And you just keep going, and I hopefully make a good product that people like and an environment that I want to hang out in. So I hope other people and the people that like hanging out here are like my type of people. So
how many days a week do you do music on?
No,
Friday?
Saturdays.
Just Saturdays?
Saturday 3 to 5 from April through the end of September. But the last couple of years, October's been beautiful. And then like people come in, I'm like, you're not doing music? It's 80. I'm like, no, I can't book music in October. You never know. But who knows? Maybe this year I'll do something.
Is that a hard thing to do? I mean,
booking music,
like
and
the
all
good
that.
ones are sought after.
Yeah, for sure.
Expensive.
And now, like, gosh, I'm starting to book for next year already.
Oh, nice.
Some of the bigger draws, like, will reach out, like, we're already almost booked for 27. I'm like, good Lord. On top of everything else I got to do, now I got to fill like 25 dates. But you know, it's good. I think I got 5 done yesterday. So, but then you're like trying to juggle those all the way through spring. And I'll usually leave some open, and I'm like, why didn't I book those when I had a chance?
Yeah.
Now that's in 3 weeks, and I got to find an artist. But yeah, it's each one's kind of a different pay scale. It's 2-hour sets we do. If it's busy enough, they're welcome to play 3. But 3 hours for musicians. Some can do it. Some think it's too long, and 2 hours is perfect.
Do you ever do like open mic night or karaoke or anything?
No.
Oh, okay. If you get a cancellation and
you're
like you're desperate that weekend, we're gonna host it.
Okay.
I think that'd be fun.
That'd be funny. Yeah. Like, well, we're not doing music, but it's open mic. I don't have a mic here though, so you'd have to bring one with you.
Well, you never know
or
what
a little
2027 is gonna bring you, or October of 2026.
I know.
What you have to do is mandate you have to drink a half a bottle before you sing.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to drink a quarter bottle to get in.
There's beer in there too. You could always crush a beer before you go up there.
So what are your hours in summer?
We're open 6 days a week right now, Tuesday through Sunday, 1 to 6 most days except Friday, Saturdays 1 to 7. And the music's every Saturday. We shall see what this weekend brings. Yesterday was pretty slow actually, which was odd, but I think we'll see what today brings.
The fire was happening.
Oh yeah, true.
People get freaked out about fire, and
they do.
It's the media, you know. It's always this.
Yeah, and the dings on your phone. Like, level 1,
yeah.
level 2.
So they just pause. They're like, I'm just gonna stay at home today.
Yeah, and then I think getting into town too. That's always Thursday. Like Thursday's a changeover day at the condos, and so like that's a day people are checking in or checking out. So Thursdays can be pretty slow.
Well, and it's a big weekend,
I
so
know,
people also don't want to come into town and hit it too hard.
True.
They're pacing themselves for the weekend.
That first day on a vacation, I always go way too hard, and then the next day you're just brutalized. But you got to rally.
So, Erik, other than working and hiking, what else do you like to do? What is Erik all about?
Question. I'd like to paddleboard, but I haven't yet this year. But I was every morning I'm like, I should go out there, and I'm like, nope, I'm not going to do it. But maybe tomorrow. But yeah, I like to do that. Restaurants, wineries on days off occasionally. But you got to go. It's market research, so you got to taste around town and see your industry friends. Yeah. And if I can get to the South Shore, then I'll try to make it a half day of that and go check out like the wineries I like over there. And you always got to try new vintages, so you try wine around town.
Yeah.
One of the things you do real well, I think, is and I think it's very important. I think you'd agree that the personalities that you have serving your customers, you always seem to have really friendly,
Oh yeah,
people.
Kendall.
It's a vibe.
Yeah, she's awesome. We work together at Succession, and Kirsten and Whitney. Yeah, mostly females, unless my brother's here. But I get along really well with women, and I love women, and they're way more positive than I am, so they help balance me out.
Yeah, you're kind of a pessimist at heart. Are you?
Oh yeah.
Are you?
Oh yeah, I'm grumpy and I don't
self-deprecating, obviously.
But yeah, obviously. But yeah, I'm like, oh gosh, this is gonna be a horrible day, and it's like, oh, we're nice, we're kind, we love people, like that's right.
Yeah.
And then the first customer, like, gosh, I don't like people.
I hate people. Get out of here.
But that's because I'm jaded from bartending for so long.
Well, nothing good happens after midnight. So
no, I know. Well, we're not open past 7, so.
So you're safe.
I bet that's a good life. I'm glad you switched to that.
It was working till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning for years was hard on the body, but it was so much fun. But that was the thing when I got into wine. I'm like, I love it. We close early. We pass the liability off to the bars and feed them booze here, and then they go drink more booze.
Yeah, that's an interesting topic, with the DUI laws.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me how that theoretically works.
Technically, they can buy a bottle, not finish it, cork it, put it in a bag, and then you're supposed to put that in out of the reach of the driver. So the trunk is ideally where they'd like you to put it. I don't know where people put it when they leave here. But yeah, DUI laws, there's obviously, what is it, 0.08? Mm-hmm. And it's a scary thing. Mm-hmm. And we do have to watch alcohol service all the time.
Because you overpour, that could be an issue.
Absolutely. And that's, we have to get our pouring license every 3 years, and so you go through that. I've been through it 1,000 times. But yeah, it's important to manage an adult's party because they won't manage their own. So that's basically what you're doing is babysitting adults. And when we were a bartender, that every night, it's like, well, it's fun to cut them off. I've been cut off many a times. But yeah, when this is the first time
I've been on the other
been
side.
cut off.
Yeah,
like, listen, it's happened to me many a times. Just pay your tab and leave.
Yeah.
Go to the next bar, see if they'll serve you, but you're done here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the old days. But I don't have to deal with that anymore. I think only once I've had to cut somebody off in the daytime.
It happens.
It does, you're partying, you're not hydrating, part of it, or you're drinking on a boat and then you go taste wine and you're like,
oh, especially when the heat hits 100%. You too.
Yeah.
You react different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and how you do that and how you treat people, there's always going to be every once in a while that person it's impossible to please.
Yeah.
And you just
every
business
those.
Yeah, like sorry, bye.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good. We have that too in our business.
100%.
I've had to tell clients, I think we're done working together.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that. And I go, well, I just did.
Yeah, we're done here.
You can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
it's just not going to be with me.
Not taking this any longer.
There's lots of us realtors running around.
Yeah, exactly. Go find another one, see if they can deal with you.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited. Congratulations on 5 years here.
Thank you.
And,
it's great.
It seems like we're
doing well.
Gaining the traction.
Yep.
And life
we
is
are,
good.
yeah, and a lot of new customers and word of mouth, and which has been great this year. The Square app we use always sends an email in the morning, so you see returning and new, and it's like 70-30, which used to be the opposite.
Yeah, that's an example of tech that has really helped.
Yeah, for sure. That's like the only thing I look at. I'm like,
database
look at the sales,
taking care of for
yeah.
you. You don't have to write their name and number down.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Information gathering.
Yeah,
it's all automatic now.
It is data.
Well, one thing I didn't ask you, what is your favorite wine that you make? And
white wine right now is the Albarino. Spanish grape originally. It's kind of like Pinot Gris, Sauv Blanc. It's in between the two, but lemon, lime, citrus. Just a great summer.
Which is the one that you call a patio pounder?
Oh, that's the Sun Chaser.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the patio pounder. It's got a little more tropical fruit. It's unoaked Chardonnay, Riesling, and Pinot Gris. But the Albarino by far is the most popular. The Rosé is really good right now too, but red wine. Well, I did a local Syrah from Defiance Vineyard, which was nefarious. It's 95 Syrah with 5% white grape co-fermented in it. That's really fun. The Gemelli, that super Tuscan blend, I like a lot, and Cab Franc.
Do you ever, when it's time to make wine, or do you ever say, like a mad scientist?
Not really. No, it's more like, oh God, here we go. Like, call the vineyard. When's it's ready tomorrow? Oh my God, yeah, I'll be there at 7 a.m.
Well, could you imagine though if your dad did not get started just hobby making wine?
Oh gosh, no.
What do you think you'd be doing if it wasn't for that?
Probably still bartending.
Too much fun. You'd be like Van Weidler.
Well, and you probably get addicted to the
46 now.
Yeah, you get addicted probably to just like the.
Well, it's a lifestyle.
The pace.
Every day's different. That's what's fun about restaurants is, you don't know what's coming each day, and then Every night's different. You got drinks. Making drinks is fun. Dealing with customers not always the most fun. Sometimes the general public's okay. Sometimes they're not. So, especially when alcohol is involved.
Yeah,
but,
you got enough testosterone and enough alcohol and some girls and after midnight.
Yes.
That's a different game.
That's why they close at 7.
Exactly. I know.
They got a buffer.
Yeah,
You're
and
out of
people always
Dodge.
ask, I asked when I got here, I was like, well, why do we close at 5? And like Dean and Heather explained, like, we're here to sell wine. We're not here to sell glasses, and we're not a drinking establishment. We want to like sell wine is what our goal is. We're not here so people can come have 3 glasses of wine till 9 p.m. Plus they had kids and a life, and that's kind of the thing now is people are like, why are you closed early? Like, I'd like to go do something on Friday night or Thursday. I want to go home and lay on the couch. Sunday, like, I wish you were open later. Like, I'm ready for the couch.
You want to go paddleboarding.
Yeah, I know. One of these days, it's getting toasty enough, I might have to do it after work.
Yep.
You should do paddleboard wine tasting.
I should. They've done paddleboard yoga, and I'm like, no way. I did a paddleboard race a few years ago. Windermere was doing that Windermere Cup from the boat launch all the way to Chelan.
Wow.
I can't believe I did it 2 years in a row. And the first year, it was so windy, you could only paddle on the left-hand side. If you went on the right, you were like 10 feet over, and it was waving like all over the board. So I've never.
You got one side workout.
Yeah, the whole way, all like whatever that is, 8 miles or something.
Wow.
That's funny.
Open water, and that scarred me. But they didn't have classes, so this one dude came from like Mercer Island with a carbon fiber race board, and he did like 2 strokes. He's already like 8 board lengths in front of him. I'm like, is there classes in this race?
That's right. Yeah.
Somebody's on an inflatable. I've got a hard board, and that guy's got a Ferrari.
You're in the unlimited class.
So he won it 2 years in a row. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Probably $3,000 paddleboard or something.
Oh, I think it was. I looked it up. Yeah,
it happens.
It was super narrow too. It was. I'd never seen anything like it. He's like, oh, I do this all summer. I'm like, well, that's not really fair. I think he won $500.
So you got a big weekend, 4th of July weekend coming up. Got music.
Yeah, music Saturday.
Well, I know you're a busy man.
Do you have to buy tickets for that or anything? Or
no, not
just
for music. No, but Saturday's a little different because 4th of July we sell tickets for our patio for the viewing of the fireworks. So we'll close at 5 after music, and then we reopen at 7.
And is this one on the 4th?
It is on the 4th. Manson's always on the 4th. Chelan's always on the 5th. And they're doing a drone show down there. That sounds kind of interesting.
That's what I heard,
I'd like to go see it. I've never seen a drone show.
Yeah, I've seen it on YouTube, but it'll be interesting to see it in person.
It will be.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well,
so, yeah, it's going to be a busy one.
You've got a lot to do. I appreciate you taking the time and spontaneously agreeing to come talk to me.
So funny when you called me. What day are you thinking? Tomorrow? Like, good Lord. Let me check my schedule.
My office gives me our time because they say I plan about every 7 minutes.
It's
every day.
I do too, but I'm like, good.
And that's why you look at that calendar and you go, that's going to get moved to
tomorrow.
I did,
yes.
Well, it's hard for us in this business because we're so, we get a call and it's go see a house and
absolutely
development, and they're here in town, and so me trying to use a calendar, it's like an idea.
I know, and we had chatted at the baby shower, and it's always been in the back of my head, when's Russ going to call me about this? And it was yesterday. So.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you doing it.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate your friendship and everything you've done for Mason and Casey and all the people. You are just one of those bright spots in the Lake Chelan Valley. So
thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate you guys very much.
All right, well, we're going to let you get back to work.
I don't want to.
One more time from Small Towns Unscripted.